Hello everyone, this is Dinesh. So I'm here to tell you about some information about the low level transaction and also about the call data. So this is the example solidity code which explains us about the low level transactions. So this contract consists of two functions, namely deposit money and withdraw money. So first let's deploy this contract. So after deploying, let's add some value to this contracts. So let me add 100 FINA to this contract. So after deposit money, you can see that the balance has been increased. So let's see about this transaction. So if you see in the transaction details, you can see the from address to address and also about the gas fees and transaction cost. And there is also a data called input. What is this input? It is also an hex code. So if you consider about this input, the input is a low level code that is sent to the EVM. So if you copy this input and then enter it in the call data column and then hit the transact button, you would see an error called fallback function is not defined. So what is a fallback function? So now if we hit this transact button, the function does not know where to go, to which function to hit and to execute. So when the function does not know which function to hit, where it will go to the fallback function. So since we didn't declare the fallback function in the contract, it shows that the fallback function is not defined. So let's define the fallback function. Fallback, since fallback is not a user defined function, we don't include the keyword called function, and it's external payable. And when this fallback function is hit, let's call the deposit money function. Okay, so now let's run this contract again. First let's save it. So when we save it, we see a warning here saying that this contract has a payable fallback function, but it does not have a receive ether function. So let's look into this warning later. So first let's deploy it again. So let me deploy it. So again let me send some value to this contract. So let's say 159 deposit money. You can see that balance has increased. So let me increase the value again and copy the value here, input data here, and paste it in the call data column, and the value is set to 100. And now let's hit the transact button. You see the transaction has got successfully executed, and you see the value 100, some amount of way has sent to this contract. You can see here. So if you look into the warnings, so it shows that this contract has a payable fallback function, but it does not have a receive function. So what is a receive function? Receive function is the other end of the fallback function. So the uh, receive function provides a payable contract function, where that will be the initial function when you want to transfer the money from one account to a contract or a contract to an account. So let's see about some of the documentation given from the solidity documents. So hit the I button. So here says that the contract can have at most one receive function and should be declared with the following syntax like this: external payable, and it must have external visibility and a payable state mutability. The same would be followed to fallback to. It should have an at most one fallback function the contract must have, and with the following syntax need to be declared, and must have external visibility, and either it must be marked as a payable. So this is it. So when we come to the code, now let's rectify the warning showed here. So let me clear the fallback here, fallback function. So to know which state, like receive or fallback, let's declare a string here, string public called current function to know which function the call data hits. So let me declare the receive function here. Receive external payable, and when this function is called, the current function string will be the receive function. Sorry. And let's declare the fallback function here. Same syntax need to be followed here too. And when this fallback function is hit, the current function need to be in the fallback function. So since it's not a user defined function, we don't include a keyword function here. So let's save it and let's redeploy this contract. Oh, there is an error here. Sorry. Oh, I didn't add an since it's a function, we need to add a curly braces here. So now it's clear. So now let's redeploy the contract. So here again, let's add some value to the contract. Let's say 100 finane. Let's deposit it and see in the transaction fields. So let me see the current state at the string is in null state, since we didn't have any call data in here. So the current function is in null. So let's have some call data. Let's copy the input. So if you see with the error, it shows that the enter correct amount. So this error will be shown when the minimum value is not achieved. So let's say the minimum value is 100 way. Since we didn't have any values in the value section, this error has been popped out. So let's have some minimum value 100 way. First let's deposit it again. So now let's copy the input value. So before pasting it, first let's just hit the transact button without pasting it. So the transaction gets successfully executed. If you see the correct function, it's in receive function state. So the receive function has been executed when there is no call data. So now let's paste the call data value here and have some values again. So if not, we would be directed to the same error which we got before, and then hit transact again. The transaction gets successfully executed. Now let's check the current function state. It's still in receive function. So even when there is no data in the call data, it goes to the receive function. Even when there is some data, it goes to the receive function. So it just calls the deposit money. So what we can do is like call the deposit money here when the receive function is hit. So you can ask me a question like, when will the fallback function will be called? So fallback function will be called when we enter an call data value where the input values is like something a hex code, but which does not match any transaction details. So let me give you an example. So let me add some call data value, which is a random call data value, and hit a transact button. See the transaction gets successfully executed. Let's see the transaction details. See, even some gas has been spent towards it. The value has been zero way. The value has been zero way. So now let's check the current function state. It goes to the fallback function. So when you have a call data value which does not have redirect you to the specific transactions, then the state will go for a fallback function. So that's it. So that's what I have tried to explain it. So thank you.